And we'll take more of your tips on cutting down on food waste because, well, it's where we're starting the programme this morning. Each household, on average, in Norfolk wastes £810 worth of food a year. Surely we've got to be able to do something about that.
Chris Goreham at breakfast.
Welcome along. That, in fact, is our main story this morning at 7:10. £800 of edible food each year is thrown away by the average household in Norfolk. For the last year, a project called Food Savvy has been getting people in Norfolk and Suffolk to take action to prevent food ending up in landfill. It's run in part by Norfolk County Council and is supported by the charity Hubbub. That has carried out a survey of the two counties, Norfolk and Suffolk, and found that only 15% of people realise that food waste contributes more to climate change than plastic. We've already met this morning Norwich lifestyle blogger Hannah Pye, who thinks this is something that we all need to embrace.
Food waste is a massive problem. We've just heard how much food is wasted each year, especially by Norfolk and Suffolk households. And me personally, when I started to look at how much food I was wasting, I was shocked to see that I'm wasting quite a lot myself. So much time and effort and produce is used to go into making these food products, and just to think that they're sitting in our fridges and then at the end of the week we're binning them is pretty horrendous. So it's definitely something we need to sort out.
And let's talk now to Tessa from the behaviour change charity Hubbub, which has been backing Food Savvy. Good morning, thanks for coming on. Food Savvy is a joint project in Norfolk and Suffolk. Tell us what it has achieved in the last year locally.
Great, good morning. Food Savvy is launched to tackle food waste in the region, and our first year has seen the partnership work with over 30 different organisations, host 50 events, working with major regional employers, community groups, and lots of great bloggers and vloggers such as Hannah Pye that you just featured. And so we've managed to reach a huge number of people, but in a nutshell, I think our first year has really just been laying the groundwork. And if we're to create a culture change around food waste to the scale which you've just stressed we need to for the climate, then we really want many more people to come on board in the year ahead.
We've been looking at the climate change discussion this morning and thinking that one of the ways that companies and food producers and shops make food last longer so that we don't waste it is to put it in plastic packaging, which is another problem, isn't it? How do we square that particular thing?
It's a really interesting one, isn't it? Because there are some times when packaging is helpful for making food last longer, but ultimately there are areas where we do waste food that we could all kind of start with today. For example, the polling that you just referenced found that actually the biggest cause of food waste in Norfolk was people throwing away food that's come up to its use-by date that they've not eaten. So in that case, it might be a bit of a misunderstanding about the difference between best before dates and overly cautiousness about what's safe to eat, or they might just not be kind of thinking of using their freezer as much as they can, which is definitely an underused resource, and pretty much everything can freeze. So I think if we could get a few more people looking in their fridge a couple of days ahead and thinking, oh, I'll pop that in the freezer for a later time, then that could make a huge difference.
How much of this is just down to planning and actually getting yourselves organised, and when you do your weekly shop, working out exactly what you need? Because already we've heard this morning the temptation, whether it's ordering a takeaway or doing your weekly shop, is just to end up with much more food than you're actually going to eat.
Exactly, I think that's spot on, isn't it? It's really exciting to go shopping and we're bombarded with all of these great foodstuffs, and I think many of us buy much more than we do need. And so I think actually planning a few days in advance, saying who's going to be eating, who's around for which meals, what am I going to cook, and then going to the shop with that list, buying that food, that's a surefire way to reduce food waste. And it doesn't take too much effort to do that planning, and you stand to save an awful lot, for your pockets, but also to help the planet.
I like the way you said the food shop there is exciting. I think there's a lot of people who would employ you to do the food shop for them every week, Tessa. It's a 2-year project, this, though, isn't it? We're halfway through it. What's planned for the coming year? How are you going to help Norfolk save more money and throw away less food?
We're going to build on what we've done in the first year, so we've got a few more exciting campaigns up our sleeve, and we're pleased to say that we'll be working with the East of England Co-op as well to do some pieces in store and within their local communities. But we're really calling on more members of the community, businesses, schools, various community groups, chefs, potentially more bloggers and vloggers, to come on board to help us take the campaign to the next level. So you can find out a bit more on how you can get involved at our website, which is foodsavvy.org.uk. And on there, there's lots of great tips about what you can do as a household as well. You can take a quick quiz and find out, actually why you're wasting food in your house with some personalised advice. But if you are an employer or an employer, then we've got all kinds of simple campaigns and competitions for you to run in your workplace with some great prizes. And we're also looking for various local community groups to take on things like a community fridge, which is a space where any individual or retailer can exchange surplus food within the region, or to run some of our seasonal campaigns such as the Pumpkin Rescue, which uses pumpkins as a hook to talk about Halloween food waste. So we've got lots of ready kind of off the shelf, as it were, campaign materials ready for anyone who'd want to take on the food savvy message with their local group.
Thanks very much for coming on the programme this morning. Nice to talk to you. I've heard about these community fridges, that they've popped up in several parts of Norfolk, where if you've got some food that you've got too much of, or that is perhaps getting close to its use-by date, you can put it in a fridge somewhere, and other people can go and if they need it, they can help themselves to it. It's an interesting idea. I wonder if they're doing that where you live. Tell us about it. That was Tessa Tricks from the lifestyle charity Hubbub.